Have you ever been driving late at night and seen something in the sky that made you question reality? Imagine cruising down a quiet road when suddenly, bright lights appear out of nowhere, moving in ways you've never seen before. Cars come to a halt, and people step out, staring in disbelief as the strange object hovers silently above. Could it be a trick of the light, or something far more extraordinary? Multiple witnesses reported the same phenomenon, leaving even authorities baffled. Roads were shut down, and radar confirmed something unusual in the sky. Stay tuned as we reveal the shocking UFO sighting that caused a complete road shutdown. Recently, a video shared by Zona Desconhecida is being called some of the clearest UFO footage ever captured. The person who recorded it posted the video on their YouTube channel, explaining that they had just left a bakery on Sunday, July 21st, when they noticed a strange object hovering above Katiba. Unsure what it was, they quickly grabbed their Nikon B700 camera, which has a 60x zoom. They stopped their car and began filming, not realizing that the footage they were about to capture would rank among the clearest UFO videos ever recorded.
Baixava o carro aqui, Marcos.
Even with the improvements in smartphone cameras, getting a sharp image of a UFO remains extremely difficult. Despite high megapixel counts and advanced software, phones have small sensors and lenses that limit their performance. Small sensors capture less light, which is critical for clear photos, particularly in low-light conditions. Similarly, compact lenses cannot match the clarity and focus of the larger lenses found in dedicated cameras. Most UFO sightings catch people completely unprepared. Observers usually rely on their smartphones to record video or take pictures. But phones have weak zoom capabilities, often producing fuzzy images. Only a few people have access to high-quality cameras like a Nikon with optical zoom. Unlike digital zoom, which simply enlarges pixels and reduces resolution, optical zoom magnifies the image without losing detail. When trying to capture a distant object in the sky, digital zoom often results in blurry, pixelated footage, making it hard to see critical details needed for proper analysis. Shutter speed is another important factor. Many smartphones have limited control over it, and default settings may not be fast enough to capture a rapidly moving object without motion blur. Motion blur happens when an object moves faster than the camera shutter, leaving streaks or unclear images. The UFO in this video was clearly disc-shaped with a metallic surface. It hovered silently and moved with smooth, controlled motions, unlike any conventional aircraft. Realizing the importance of what he was seeing, the recorder immediately started filming. With the high-resolution camera, every detail was captured. The zoom focused on the edges and subtle movements, ensuring nothing went undocumented. The video has quickly gone viral because of its clarity. The disc-shaped object appears sharp, its metallic surface reflecting the city lights. Unlike typical blurry UFO footage, this video lets viewers see the shape, texture, and movements clearly, without any guesswork. Many are calling the footage a breakthrough in UFO documentation. For decades, poor quality videos and photos fueled skepticism and prevented serious study. This clear footage gives researchers a rare chance to examine a UFO in detail, potentially advancing understanding of these phenomena. The high quality also makes the video more credible. Skeptics often dismiss UFO sightings due to unclear evidence, but this recording challenges that doubt. Its detail and clarity have captured global attention, sparking renewed discussion. For many, it serves as strong evidence that UFOs exist and deserve serious attention. The media coverage has helped normalize discussions about UFOs, reducing the stigma around the topic. Brazil has a long history of UFO sightings, dating back to the 1950s. Curitiba, in particular, has been a hotspot for unexplained aerial activity. Earlier reports described unusual lights or objects in the sky, generating curiosity and fear among locals. In the last decade, sightings in Curitiba have increased, drawing attention from both the public and researchers. These recent reports stand out because of their frequency, consistency, and detailed eyewitness accounts. Unlike sporadic earlier sightings, modern reports have led to organized efforts to document and study the phenomena. One of the most notable aspects is the consistency in eyewitness descriptions. Many report seeing disc-shaped, spherical, or triangular objects moving in ways that defy conventional explanation. These objects are often said to move at incredible speeds, hover silently, or make sudden directional changes impossible for known aircraft. High-profile sightings add weight to these reports. In 2018, a well-known local businessman reported a disc-shaped UFO hovering over the city. In 2020, a group of hikers, including a retired Air Force pilot, saw a large glowing sphere emitting pulsating light. They said the object moved in ways no conventional aircraft could, further supporting the credibility of their account. The increase in sightings has prompted local researchers to investigate. Organizations like the Brazilian Center for Flying Object Research have interviewed witnesses and analyzed footage and photos. So far, no evidence has been found of hoaxes or misidentified aircraft. Mainstream scientists are also showing growing interest in Curitiba sightings. While skepticism remains, the sheer number and consistency of reports have prompted calls for systematic study. Some researchers suggest deploying advanced monitoring tools, like infrared cameras and radar, to capture high-quality data for deeper analysis. Public perception in Curitiba has shifted. Initial skepticism or fear has given way to acceptance that these phenomena deserve attention. Local media and community forums frequently discuss sightings, reflecting a population increasingly open to the possibility of advanced visitors. One particularly intriguing and scientifically significant aspect is the reported electromagnetic effects. Witnesses often report disruptions to electronics, power outages, or unusual magnetic readings during UFO encounters. The link between UFOs and electromagnetic phenomena is not new. Historical accounts, dating back to the early 20th century, describe UFO sightings alongside unexplained electromagnetic disturbances. Recent credible reports continue this pattern, documenting encounters where UFOs seem to affect electronics or magnetic instruments. Physical evidence of these effects includes scorched vegetation, melted electronics, and residual magnetic anomalies. In some cases, soil and plant samples from alleged landing sites show unusual properties, such as altered isotopic ratios or magnetic features, suggesting exposure to strong electromagnetic fields. One leading theory is that UFOs represent advanced technology, possibly extraterrestrial, that uses electromagnetic fields for propulsion or other functions. The observed effects could be a side effect of these technologies. For example, if a UFO uses electromagnetic propulsion, the intense fields could interfere with nearby electronics and magnetic instruments. At around 8 p.m. on February 26, 1975, two unknown men reported seeing something strange in the sky while camping near Lake Sorell in Tasmania, Australia, during a fishing trip. According to the account, the main witness, known as Mr. Smith, and his companion noticed three objects appearing and disappearing from the clouds. At first, they assumed it might be an aircraft. As they continued watching, it became clear that this was not a normal plane. Smith pointed it out to his friend, and together they realized they were looking at two very large, unidentified objects, alongside a smaller one. The objects appeared to move toward Lake Sorell, and then stopped above a spot called Dog's Head Point. Clouds briefly covered them again before clearing, revealing the objects traveling toward Mount Penny. As they moved away, both men noticed that each object had a pulsing red light on its underside, along with a ring of reddish-orange lights around the outer edge. Soon after, one of the objects changed direction and headed straight toward them. When they first noticed this movement, they estimated the object was about 2 to 2.5 miles away. Within seconds, it covered more than a mile and came to a stop roughly 500 feet above the lake. At that distance, the object appeared to be at least 200 feet wide. A powerful light suddenly shone downward, lighting up the surface of the water below. The brightness was so strong that both men said it hurt their eyes if they stared at it too long. The light then began moving in a curved pattern across the water. Smith later said it looked like the object was deliberately scanning the lake, and that the movement of the light was clearly controlled. At that point, they noticed something else unusual. They had been using a car radio because their own radio could not pick up a signal. Without warning, the radio burst into loud static. Smith reached over while still watching the object and tried changing stations, but every frequency produced only noise. After a short time, the bright light shut off completely. Once their eyes adjusted to the sudden darkness, they could see the object still hovering over the lake. Then it suddenly shot away at extreme speed. At the same moment, the second object near Mount Penny also accelerated and disappeared. Smith checked his watch and saw it was 9:30 p.m., meaning the encounter had lasted about 45 minutes. The following day, the two men spoke with a group of fishermen camped about a mile away at Silver Plains. Those anglers said they had also seen strange objects the night before. They explained that while sitting inside their tent, a sudden bright light had lit up the entire area, including the inside of the tent. Less than a month later, on the night of March 14th, another strange sighting near Lake Sorell was reported. This time, Mr. Nape, along with his two sons and two friends, noticed a glowing object close to their campsite in a clearing roughly a mile from the lake. They described the object as football-shaped or oval, with an estimated width of about 50 feet. A yellow light glowed from its underside and grew brighter as the object increased speed. Similar reports have also been linked to Lake Michigan. Over the years, many sightings have been recorded in the state of Michigan. According to Michigan UFO Central, one major case took place on the night of August 15, 1970, around 10:30 p.m. near Good Heart. That evening, a man staying at his parents' home suddenly felt the urge to drive toward the shore of Lake Michigan. The sky was clear, making it a good night to observe the stars. While outside, he noticed a very bright object moving across the sky. He realized something was wrong when the object began descending in a controlled path. Using a telescope, he examined it closely and noticed many detailed features. The object was circular and lined with lights in orange, yellow, green, and blue. On one side, there appeared to be a window emitting light from inside. Through that window, he claimed to see several figures moving around and operating what looked like a control panel. The object continued descending and eventually stopped near the water, about 100 feet from where he stood. He remained still, watching closely. After roughly 15 minutes with no visible movement, he decided to approach it. As he moved closer, he felt a noticeable change in the air temperature. About 50 feet from the object, the air felt warmer. He stopped suddenly after hearing a metallic noise. Despite the darkness, there was enough light to see a ramp extending from the side of the craft down to the ground. The ramp looked strange because there was no visible opening where it connected to the craft. For reasons he could not explain, he continued forward and walked up the ramp. As he reached the craft, it seemed to break apart visually, and an opening appeared in its side. He stepped inside and found himself in a room made of stone-like material with a terracotta color. The interior was softly lit, with light appearing to come directly from the walls. Many people who claim to have been inside similar objects describe stone-like interiors and lighting that seems built into the structure itself. He also noticed that the inside felt cold and carried a scent similar to cinnamon and sage. The space was shaped like a long hallway that curved in both directions. Along the walls were many handles, levers, and openings that appeared randomly placed. He chose to walk left. As he continued, the scent grew stronger. He soon reached a door blocking his path and realized another door was closing behind him. Looking down, he noticed a clear surface beneath his feet. Through it, he could see the Big Rock nuclear plant and part of Lake Michigan below. The location near a nuclear facility is notable, as many similar encounters have been reported near such sites. At that moment, he noticed a window-like panel in the wall. Looking through it, he saw several strange humanoid beings with very large heads standing at a control station. They were all wearing identical tight-fitting outfits that glowed faintly blue. As he watched them, one suddenly turned and looked directly at him. He could clearly see its face, including its large eyes, almost flat cheeks, and the absence of a visible nose. What followed felt even stranger. He suddenly experienced a vivid image in his mind of how he appeared from the creature's point of view. Moments later, one of the beings escorted him into another room and placed him into an unfamiliar chair. While seated, he experienced a rapid series of brief three-dimensional images in his mind. Afterward, he was left with only fragments of memory from that experience. An entity approached him carrying a strange cube filled with a translucent liquid. He was instructed to consume it, and he complied immediately. The beings communicated with him telepathically, though he could only remember fragments of the information. He recalled that the craft seemed to defy physics, appearing larger on the inside than its exterior dimensions suggested. He also understood that the main reason these visitors came to Earth was to access the water supply. Suddenly, he found himself once more standing at the edge of the water, just outside the vehicle. On the evening of March 8, 1994, a series of unusual lights appeared across more than 200 miles of Lake Michigan. This sparked numerous sightings and reports from the public, many of which were submitted to the police and the Mutual UFO Network. Witnesses included a wide range of people across the state, even law enforcement officers themselves. It is estimated that over 100 people observed the strange, luminous objects above one of North America's most enigmatic lakes. The first to notice the lights that evening were Darl and Holly Graves, a married couple, and their son Joey. They were at home in Holland when, around 9:30 p.m., they saw multiple glowing objects in the sky. Joey later told local media how he got up from his chair, walked to the couch, and looked out the window above the barn across the street. He saw 6 lights, red and white, moving through the sky. Cindy Pravda, another witness, reported seeing 4 unusual lights that looked like full moons hovering above the trees near her home. 25 years later, she recalled observing them for 30 minutes, vividly remembering how one of the lights briefly moved onto the roadway before returning to its original spot. In 2019, she remained certain the lights were not helicopters. They appeared unlike anything she had seen before, bright white, spherical, and sharply defined. After a period of relative calm, the lights suddenly disappeared. Jack Bouchon, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, was the only official witness that evening. He was working alone at the Muskegon office when the night began normally, with nothing out of the ordinary. Soon after, the Ottawa County dispatcher received a call asking whether unusual meteorological conditions could explain the reports of strange lights. Bouchon switched the radar to manual control to investigate. He later told the media that he used the radar almost like a spotlight. Before long, he detected an object moving smoothly at about 100 miles per hour. Then, the object suddenly stopped and hovered in midair. Without warning, it shot upward to 5,000 feet, then continued climbing to 10,000 feet in a straight vertical line. At the same time, a police officer on the dispatch line reported seeing the object rise rapidly. Multiple witnesses from different locations, including other officers, observed the same thing. Bouchon confirmed the sighting on radar. Bouchon noticed that the objects seemed aware of his attention. Initially, they appeared in a triangular formation, but soon aligned in a straight line. He estimated they were about 20 kilometers apart. He also saw one object move quickly to another position, followed by the others. Even 25 years later, he described observing them hover or move at high speed. At times, the objects briefly climbed to 60,000 feet, proving to Bouchon that the radar readings were real and not ground interference. He tracked the objects for over 2 hours, noting clusters hovering above an area of the lake that remained unfrozen while most of the surface was covered in ice. The objects remain unidentified, and even 25 years later, the sightings are unexplained. Bouchon later contacted the Muskegon County Airport Control Tower to check for unusual readings. They reported seeing 3 aircraft in formation, but none of them had transponder codes. Michigan has historically reported a high number of UFO sightings, with some periods showing sudden increases. In the spring of 1966, similar craft were reported frequently. One notable encounter occurred on March 31, 1966, near Vicksburg. Jeno Udvardi, returning home from a late shift, saw a cluster of lights on the road. At first, he assumed it was an ambulance responding to an accident and slowed down. When he got about 10 feet away, he realized the ambulance was actually a disc-shaped object hovering just above the road. The lights were so intense that he could barely make out any details. Udvari felt panic rise and quickly tried to reverse his car. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind slammed against the vehicle. When he looked again, he noticed another disc-shaped object behind him. Redirecting his focus forward, he realized the first object had moved behind him, possibly explaining the sudden wind blast. After a brief pause, he found the car wouldn't start. The report doesn't confirm whether this was due to the UFO or some unknown interference. Reaching for the window handle, he lowered it and heard a faint buzzing sound, reminiscent of bees. This bee-like resonance has been reported in numerous other UFO encounters. Within seconds, the object shot upward at incredible speed and disappeared into the night sky. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more unbelievable UFO stories, make sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.